Today, I think we got the record capacity crowd for any of the presentations so far. Welcome to our afternoon session of graduation defenses. So we've asked our graduating 401s, our seniors, to defend the idea of how ready they are to graduate. So they're gonna tell you a bit about where they've been and what they've done. But they're also going to tell you a little bit about where they are going and what they're expecting next and what their hopes are. So for our community panel members, after the presentation, we'll open it up for you to make any comments or ask any questions, whatever you'd like to tell David in this case and our other presenters this afternoon, any questions you have. And then after that, then we'll open it up to questions and comments from anybody in the room. I'm Dave Agley. I think I've met almost everybody on the panel, and I know all of you out there, but I'm a 401 advisor and a social studies facilitator at the community school. And I'll let Tammy introduce herself.
Hi, I'm Tammy Lane Bowie, also a 401 advisor, and then career and tech ed for the community school.
I'm David Silver, currently IT, but also an advisor for the 401 group for this year.
And so by advisor, we mean that we've been with this class all 4 years of high school, just in case anybody didn't know that. So when they came in, we started to get to know them and their families and their next steps for learning and their goals. And it's really cool for us to have today to have the culmination of that. So let's have our community panel just briefly introduce yourselves to David, and then we'll let David get started. Tamika, would you like to start us off?
Hello, David. My name is Tamika Lemire, and I'm an enrolled tribal member with the Little Shell Tribe of Chippewa Indians out of Montana, and I'm also the Native Education Coordinator for Spokane Public Schools.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, David. I'm Kristen Whitaker. I am the Director for Spokane Virtual Learning Partnerships and Charter Schools for the district.
Hi, I'm Sarah. You've probably seen me around TCS. I am the Regional Organizing Manager for Planned Parenthood, but also do the Human Growth and Development and YIP program for TCS.
Hi, David. I'm Scott Finney. I'm a Senior Professor at Eastern Washington University in Africana Studies. Nice to meet you.
All right, let's give it up for David Goldbloom.
Well, hello everyone, my name is David Goldbloom and welcome to my 401 graduation defense. So a little introduction. So throughout my time at the community school, I have time and time again demonstrated an ability to push myself out of my comfort zone, try new things, and grow in areas that I need work in. Nowadays, I'm an avid learner. I have a thirst for knowledge, but that wasn't always the case. When I came into high school in my freshman year, I didn't talk to anybody. I was very quiet, reserved, didn't have a lot of friends. But the reason I've grown so much is my involvement in the TCS community. And so in my freshman year, I volunteered to be treasurer for the ASB, Associated Student Body. I later went on to be secretary, so I'd file minutes with the state of Washington. I was chairman, so I helped plan the meetings. And I also planned lots of different events and met a lot of great people. And all of this growth and success has come to solidify the fact that I'm ready to graduate high school. I have worked so hard to get to this point, and I'm ready to embark on my pathway going forward. And the pathway I want to pursue is I want to attend Eastern Washington University to study computer science and criminal justice because I want to pursue a career in law enforcement, which I'll talk more about later. But essentially, the idea behind this is I'm arguing why I should pursue my pathway and why I'm ready to graduate. So, ready to dive right into it. So my first argument for why I should graduate is I have consistently used my civics knowledge and passion for government to speak out, educate citizens on their rights, and spread awareness regarding local issues. And one way I did that was when I testified at City Council regarding a water conservation ordinance that was being debated at the time. And this is actually a clip from the news. I made the evening news for my testimony. It's just a short little clip, but it kind of summarizes what my thoughts were on the topic. So here we go.
Please, for the sake of my generation and those who come after us, pass this ordinance to ensure we have a future in the city of Spokane.
So this demonstrates that I got out in my community to express support for the said water conservation ordinance that would benefit the Spokane community. It was an effort to protect the river, and we know the river is very important to Spokane. It's the reason why Spokane is in its place, and all the wildlife in it is very important for the ecosystem. I learned that using my skills as a presenter to benefit my community was a good thing, and I wasn't just presenting, for the benefit of my academic career. I was actually making a difference in my community. And it shows that I'm a passionate community member. I got out in the community and did a scary thing. I testified at City Council in front of all these people, and I made the evening news. So that was really great. And it demonstrates that I do have a knack for civics, and I do want to help people. So another way I used my civics knowledge to help people was in the project My Vote, My Voice. We essentially wrote an election chronicle about the 2022 midterms. And yeah, we just detailed voting processes, what was at stake, the different political issues, what elections were happening. And I volunteered to take on this specific one, the election for U.S. Representative for District 5 between Kathy McMorris Rogers and Natasha Hill. And admittedly, I have a lot of prior knowledge about the federal government, which is why I was so excited to take it on. But I also knew a lot about the issues, and my group and I actually produced a very high-quality product here. It was probably, in my opinion, one of the best pages. But not only did we produce a very high-quality page, I actually took on extra work in this product. When we finally put the entire chronicle together, I read through it, and I noticed there were a lot of factual and spelling errors. And as a TCS student, it kind of hurt me. So I was like, Nate, I think we should probably edit this before we send this out to media outlets and our parents. This is something that's important to me. And he's like, well, the facilitators, we don't want to do that. I was like, I'll do it. And he's like, okay, you have 24 hours. Take a computer home and you can do it. And that's exactly what I did. I spent 7 hours of my own time editing that chronicle. And I was very sick when I did it too. The next day I actually fell asleep on Wesley's advisory floor because I was so exhausted and just under the weather. But this just demonstrates how passionate I am about government, helping people understand what government does in our society and the different political issues. So, yeah. My second argument why I should embark on my pathway is I've overcome my anxiety many times and moved out of my comfort zone, which has helped me grow immensely. So one example of this was when I participated in Civics Bowl, which if you don't know is a citywide tournament that is broadcasted on KSBS. And it's basically just government trivia. It's kind of boring for people who aren't into it, but I'm super passionate about it. The funny thing is, I never once thought that I would ever be on TV, ever in my life. But I've been on TV 6 times so far in my high school career. So this is just a short clip from the lightning round when we played Joel E. Ferris. We were down by 5 points coming into the round, so it's 145-150 right now. And essentially the idea is that there's minute 30 on the clock, and you're trying to answer as many questions as you can and lose the associated points or win them. And so it's 20 points per question. So here we go. Here's the clip.
What institution makes and enforces a society's public policies? David.
The government.
That is correct. What term describes the concept that every state or country has supreme and absolute power within its territory? David.
Sovereignty.
That is correct.
So that's just a few seconds. But I answered a total of 6 questions in the entire round, and I got 120 points for my team, and we won the round. So it was very exciting. But again, it just shows how much I've grown since freshman year. I didn't originally want to do Civics Bowl coming into junior year. That's when we started doing it. But I've had a lot of fun with it, and I'm very proud of myself for pushing myself to do something that was nerve-wracking for me and scary. And that's kind of been a common theme. Trying things that are hard was a very common theme for me. And I kind of got out of my shell at TCS when I joined the Student Enrollment Ambassadors in my freshman and sophomore years. And a lot of that was just me being thrown into the deep end by Cindy and Ashley by doing surprise presentations every now and again. I would just come to school and they'd be like, okay, we're leaving. You ready to go? I'm like, where are we going? And so, for example, this is a picture of when I went to Whitworth and presented to a bunch of, I believe it's communications majors. And I was basically informed like a minute before they were leaving that I was doing this. But that's just been my philosophy. Whenever I'm thrown into the deep end, I just have to learn how to swim and navigate it. And that's just what I've done every time that I was faced an obstacle like this. And it's just helped me grow so much. And I'm so much better at talking to people. In freshman year, I would constantly blank out and just not know what to say. Nowadays, you can see that's not necessarily the case. So I'm very proud of myself for doing things that were scary. And I encourage everyone, if you have any takeaway from this presentation or your time at TCS, do hard things. So my third argument for why I should embark on my pathway is, and this is kind of leading into my pathway, my persistence as a learner has allowed me to take on many incredible opportunities and get the most out of my tax-funded education. And I, by the way, had to absolutely work hard to get these opportunities in the first place. But, so I did a job shadow with City Council member Zach Sapone, and so I had to reach out to him and organize the thing myself. And it was really fun, actually. I met him at City Hall, he gave me a tour, we talked about local government, but the main highlight was we got to attend a graduation for persons who were formerly incarcerated, who were going to the trades. And it was just so fun to see all of them so joyous and happy for overcoming the adversity that they faced because, you know, people who were previously incarcerated, they don't have a lot of access to that kind of thing. So it was just fun to see Zach so passionate and happy that he did a good thing because the city funds the program. And I had a lot of fun. But the main takeaway that I have from this experience is that I do not want to be an elected representative. I thought it was a bit shady when I saw Zach had 2 phones. I was like, do you have a burner phone or something? I don't understand what's happening here. But it turns out you have to have 2 phones if you're like working in the city government because a lot of the stuff you say is open records and can be requested. And I just don't like the fact that I can't have separation from my work life and my personal life. That just does not sound good to me. And being under constant scrutiny, I mean, obviously everybody should be under scrutiny at all times, but I just don't think I would like the fact that it would bleed into my personal life as well and affect my family. So, fun experience, don't want to be an elected representative. The other thing that I did was I had to absolutely grind for an interview with Ozzie Knezovich. I had to sit on like the phone for 2 hours with the sheriff's office to get through to his press person or whatever. And I had to do a lot of convincing, had to send in the questions, but I finally got through. And I met him. It was a fun experience. I know a lot of people don't like Ozzie. It's iffy with me, I don't really know. But he did have a lot of great advice and a lot of interesting perspectives. Some I agreed with, some I didn't. The main thing I wanted to ask him about, since he has so much experience in law enforcement, was, you know, what he thought about it and how I should get into it. And the biggest thing that I learned from him was that it's really difficult to do the job, and that kind of goes without saying, but you don't really realize it until you talk to a cop. And Knezovich, you can just tell by meeting him, he's not a very open person. And he has no emotion, he doesn't want to open up to you. And a lot of cops are like that if you meet them. And they can't, a lot of them don't know how to open up because they don't want to be too personable and get too invested in every call that they take. But the thing that Ozzie says was that, you know, you have to also consider the fact that you're dealing with people. You're not just doing a job, you're dealing with people on the worst day of their lives most of the time, which I didn't really consider. Like, I always kind of thought, oh, you're just dealing with the bad guys, but no, that's very much not the case. Some people just having the worst days of their lives, and you have to help them through that and make decisions that could impact their lives. So it's just a lot of stuff like that that he taught me, and he also just showed me a lot of the dangers. So having that balance between realizing you're dealing with people, but also not being too invested in every call, you have to find that balance. And I thought that was a very interesting takeaway from my interview with him. So this is my post-high school plan. As I talked about earlier, I want to major in computer science and criminal justice. And the thinking behind this is, if law enforcement doesn't work out, which I'm still questioning whether I want to do that, a criminal justice degree doesn't get you very far if you have a 4-year degree. Just having a 4-year degree is great, but if it doesn't work out, it's just not practically used. So the thinking is, I really like tech, I've always liked computers, so I want to major in computer science and maybe do like a minor in criminal justice, if that's at all possible, because computer science is also just a bonus for law enforcement, because the end goal is I want to work in like, computer crimes or something like that. That's the end goal. I don't know for sure yet. That's kind of the thinking behind what I want to do. I applied to Seattle Pacific, Whitworth, Gonzaga, SCC, but the college that I narrowed in on was Eastern because, well, it's close to my house, but it's also in a different town, so I have that independence, but I'm also close to my family. If I need anything, I can come home for family meals and work through stuff that I'm dealing with, which would be really great. And I'm already enrolled at Eastern, so I'm really excited to pursue that going forward. My financial plan, we were supposed to put together like a financial spreadsheet essentially, and a lot of this is just simulated based on what I calculated based on different scenarios. So the award letter that I got from the college was that I was approved for $3,000 in scholarships, the presidential scholarships, because of my GPA. And then I was approved for $5,500 in loans. I got $800 from the Washington College grants. And I also took into account, like if I got, for example, a job at Amazon and got tuition reimbursement. So I come to the conclusion that the yearly billable from the actual university with like room, board, all that stuff, tuition, is $23,000, and I ran some numbers, and if I put them all together, I didn't really factor in like, support from family and all that, but it's definitely doable. I definitely have the resources, but we're still kind of working through that with the university. I've thought about the honors program. So my dad and I made a trip out to Eastern specifically to ask about financial aid. So I'm prepared to take this on, but still have some work to do. My orientation date, I'm going to be staying overnight on August 4th in the dorms just to get a feel for if that's something I actually want to do, which I'm pretty dang sure, but I just want to make sure. And then fall classes, I'm registering in July because that's the next time I can meet with an advisor and talk through that. So, conclusion. I've grown a lot in my time at TCS, and I've gotten out of my comfort zone, and I'm just a whole new person from who I was in freshman year. And I've been very involved in my community, and I'm really excited to keep, going forward, being involved in my community and seizing every opportunity I can to grow using the things that I learned at TCS. So, yeah, that's my 401 graduation defense, and I will now take your questions.
Let's do questions or comments from the panel first, please, and then after that we'll